Hello and welcome back to the UnPro Show. I'm here with Derek today for our AFC Preview. Derek, welcome to the UnPro Show.
What's up, Aaron? What's up, Rob? Man, it's been a while, dude. It's been like since we talked ball, like it's been a
Oh, I
while.
know. I'm just excited for it to be back. I'm excited for football to be back. Just get into it. Oh, man, I'm so excited. But we have a lot to get to. Are you UnPro? Are you somebody with creative energy, but you don't have a place to properly channel it? Do you have creative content ideas, but you don't have the skills necessary to create them? Are you trying to stand out in an industry that is overcrowded or nearly impossible to stand out in? Do you want to be on this show or a show just like it? Tell us about it. Link in bio. Are you UnPro? No credentials needed. So I guess just basically the structure of this is going to be, we're going to talk about every team in the AFC, go through division by division, and we're going to be picking an over or under win total for every single team. So if you're a fan of an AFC team, your team is going to get talked about to some extent, maybe less if it's the Patriots because it's the Patriots.
Facts.
Uh, but it should be fun. Do you have anything before we get started, Derek?
No, just excited. It's here. It's
It's
here,
here.
baby.
Football's back. Football's
Let's
back.
go.
All
Pumped.
right. So we're going to start out in the AFC East. And I think there's no team in the AFC East better to start with other than the Jets, the absolute mystery that is the Jets. So their over-under is 10.5 wins. That seems really high to me. But I guess we'll get into why we pick what we pick. Early thoughts on the Jets, Derek?
Yeah, I mean, 10 and a half. I mean, there's one reason why it's that high, and that's Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers.
it's true.
Like outside of that, I don't think it's there's.
It's a pretty talented roster.
It
I mean, I'm not
is.
going to argue with that. It's a good roster. I think Salah's a good coach.
Yes, defensively great coach. The I think the big kicker to it is that Tyrod Taylor's the backup. That helps if something were to happen to Aaron Rodgers again.
Knocking on wood.
There's
Knocking on wood
not
for you Jets fans out there.
you're not knocking on wood, Robbie. You're knocking on freaking plastic right now. Um, but Tyrod, he's proven in the league that he can manage a team if need to be put in that position.
Much better than Zach Wilson can.
Yes.
Significantly better than Zach Wilson can at this point.
No, 100%, 100%. So, I mean, looking at their team, like I think they should be the favorites though.
Probably, yeah. When we get into the rest of the division, I agree that the Jets are probably the favorite to win that division. I 100% agree with that. I mean, their offensive line's much better. I think Garrett Wilson's going to actually be able to be Garrett Wilson this year because he has a real quarterback. And it's not like the defense is worse. The defense is just as good as it was, and they have more reason to be good. Because if you have an offense that's good, you be able to try harder. And it's yeah.
I mean, and Chuck Clark, he's coming back. I think it was an Achilles that I believe it was an Achilles. It was season-ending injury,
Mm.
and he really didn't play much last year. And he's a very good safety, and I think having him back there helps a lot to shore up, big plays, and he's
Yeah,
physical, very physical.
yeah.
Their whole defenses though, so
That's kind of part of what it is. I mean, I was thinking about ranking defensive lines. I mean, they got to be near the top, especially if they can keep Hassan Reddick, if they can go ahead and figure that contract situation out. Because if he's on that D line, it really might be one of, like, I'm not gonna say the best, but it's up there. I think it's top five unquestionably at that point.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't know
it's just so good.
how do you argue it?
Yeah. So I think that's what they're built on. I mean, I'm high on the Jets, so I guess I'll give my pick. I'm gonna go over on the 10.5, which is I thought I was going to be under, but I kind of sold myself on the defense a little bit. That if Aaron Rodgers plays well and if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I think the rest of the team follows. I think they get over, and I think they win that AFC East. Would be my guess.
I agree, and we can discuss the division
Mm-hmm.
a little later, but I think the over is a safe bet, barring
Yeah,
any injuries. Like I feel like that's the only thing stopping them. That's only that stops most teams.
also true. Yeah,
But I think barring any injuries, I think yeah, 10 and a half should be a fairly easy number to hit.
yeah. And
Um,
I think the O line's better because I said I was going to bring him up and I didn't. It was Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, both top 10 tackles last year according to PFF. I think they're both 33. They might be even older than that. So they're older tackles, but their quarterback's Aaron Rodgers, so your timeline doesn't really matter anyway. I don't think if you're the Jets, like you're all in on this year. I mean, I feel like next year don't even think about don't even think about last year if you're a Jets fan. Just focus on this year. Nothing else matters. Just lock in each week on the moment.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. And yeah, and to add to that, Elijah Vera Tucker is a very good guard.
Yeah. No, I think they were a top 5 O line. Yeah, they were the number 5 O line going into the season according to PFF, where last year they had to be bottom 20 at least. Might have
Yeah.
been even worse than that.
I mean, Zach Wilson, I mean, that dude just doesn't like he could have had. I feel like he had time. I don't want to talk about this too much, but like that dude, like once the ball was snapped, he felt like the pocket was collapsing, and he didn't really help his line at all. Like
Also true, yeah. But
I feel
I
like
mean, yeah. I think there's that. It's just like I don't know. It's that'd be one of the saddest things ever to think that you were done with Zach Wilson. You're like, all right, you don't have to deal with Zach Wilson anymore. And then he comes back into your life last year. That has to be the saddest thing ever. But like I said, if you're a Jets fan, don't even think about last year. You're focused on this year, you're focused on each
exactly.
week. Don't think about anything else. Just be glad that you have a team that is the favorite to win the division. That doesn't happen all the time. You're the Jets. So just focus on that.
Facts.
All right. So moving on to a team, this is probably one of the more interesting teams I think we're going to talk about, and that's the Bills. And because the Bills are going through a crazy amount of turnover. So if you want to go through some of the departures and some of the guys they brought in, I mean, it's probably the worst departures out of anybody.
I mean, really, offensively is where they got hit. I mean, they
Yeah.
lost Diggs, Davis, and an unsung hero on their offensive line, Mitch Morris, a
Mm-hmm.
very the veteran aspect that he
Yeah.
provided, along with his physicality, and he was a top tier center
Mm-hmm.
in the league. And for him to go, I believe he went to the Texans, if not Texans.
I
I
can
forgot
look
where he
real
went.
quick.
I forgot where he went, but him departing was very big. I think
Yeah,
that must
it's big. It's also just his connection with Josh Allen too. Like that's
correct.
Josh Allen's center, and now his center's gone. So that's just another thing that he has to deal with. Like it's all these new changes are getting thrown at Josh. Like he's going to have to go back to hero mode, Josh, which I don't know if that necessarily translates to wins for the Bills. Like, do you think the supporting cast is there for Josh? Like Josh is good enough to win a bunch of games on his own, but at the same time, sometimes when he goes into that hero mode, I feel like the team gets worse sometimes because he makes mistakes, not mistakes. He just turns the ball over. And that's what you get with Josh Allen, I think, when he tries to go into this mode that we might see all of next year.
Yeah,
I guess this year.
he forces he forces the ball down the field
Mm-hmm.
and into windows, like you said, hero mode, like that he thinks he can fit. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have somebody like Stephon Diggs, like you need to have a perfect ball. And
Yeah.
even a perfect ball very well could just be picked off if you're trying to throw it where you
Yeah.
just shouldn't throw it.
So to me, it kind of comes down then to Keon Coleman. I really like Keon Coleman. He's a big bodied receiver, but I just don't know if he's ready for the stress right off the bat. Like a lot of pressure's put on Keon Coleman right off the bat to be a really, really good number one receiver. And he was a second round pick. When it comes down to it, he was the first pick of the second round, but he's still a second round pick. It feels like it's a lot of pressure to put on a guy that has no experience in anything. Like what? Other than that, they have Curtis Samuel.
But
Like,
that is a good guy to learn from because he's been around the league, he's been
mm-hmm,
through a lot, and he knows how to handle these types of situations
mm-hmm.
very well. I would that's my ultimate that's my take on it that it's not a bad guy to learn from.
I mean, I think Kirsten was actually getting a decent amount of targets this year just because there's not anyone that's guaranteed targets on this team. So from a fantasy perspective, I might be kind of high in Curtis Samuel, but from a wins perspective, I'm not sure necessarily where I sit with the Bills. It's 9.5. 10 really feels like a lot of wins for the Bills. So I think I'm going to go under. And I think it also kind of ties to Matt Milano just tore his biceps. So now he might be 2 years in a
Wait,
row he just
really?
doesn't play.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, that was like a couple of days ago. Matt Milano tore his biceps. So it just seems like the defense is now kind of back to where it was last year. It's hard for me to see the Bills
They
becoming
lost
a
a lot
10
on
win
defense.
team.
I mean, Jordan
Yeah.
Poyer's gone. Jordan
Yeah.
Poyer, he's on the Dolphins now, and then Micah Hyde's gone.
Yeah. It's
There's a
just
lot.
both sides of the ball got destroyed. And now Milano's gone too, probably for a few weeks. I mean, a torn biceps. I mean, he's getting older too. Who knows how long that could be before he's back. So I don't know. It's just to me under. I'm curious what your thoughts are on the Bills.
I mean, it's really hard to say because obviously that's a team that we play every year, it seems like,
Yeah.
and
won the division last year somehow after a horrible start.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's what brings me back to it. But also, Aaron Rodgers wasn't there. Like Aaron Rodgers wasn't
Also
there to
true.
keep it
Yeah.
competitive in the sense of
Yeah, like they
that.
basically just had to catch the Dolphins in December,
Exactly.
which might be, it's not
Uh,
that hard of a task.
yeah, yeah, and so I really, I truly, I want to say under, but I for some reason I just feel like they'll sneak in a 10th win.
You think it a 10 or I don't know. I feel like they're going to be 9. They're going to be over 500. And then at 9-8, they're going to be basically going to come down to some tiebreakers of who gets that last couple of spots in the playoffs.
If they can keep the games close in the fourth quarter, I think that's where
Yes,
Josh Allen will be able to take them over the hump in some of
to
these
be
games.
Josh and to be that
Yeah.
good. I think it's going to be a good fantasy season for Josh because so much is on his
I think
plate.
Dalton Kincaid is going to be
Oh, look at that. Sneaky
a
Dalton Kincaid.
I don't even know if it's sneaky, dude. I think he might be the best receiver on the team, to be completely honest. Going
In
into
the
this,
red zone, yes. In the red zone, 100%. Yes. That's not even a question.
I think he's going to be the favorite target. I think when
Yeah.
quarterbacks don't have a reliable target, old reliable is always there, which is a tight
Hmm.
end. And I think he's
So,
going to
yeah.
shine from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah. Where he just kind of feasts on the targets that Stefan left.
Yeah. He will make the most out of everything that's
Yeah.
thrown to him. Because
So
a
you're
lot of
over.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
under. Uh, I'm not 100% locked in on that, so I don't know if I'm willing to put up or shut up on that one. I'm just
I,
gonna leave that as it is.
that one is a one that I don't know if I would feel confident on either, just
Yeah,
because
that's a really good
it's
line. That's a really good line whoever
well,
made that. Shout out DraftKings. I should have said that from the beginning. We're using the DraftKings lines. These
yes.
are as accurate as August 17th. So if you're watching this and it's like September, you're like, oh, that's not the over under. Well, it's because it's of that date. All right, we're gonna keep going. So I got the Dolphins here. Also 9.5 wins here for the Dolphins. My first thoughts is there's no way this defense is better. Like that was kind of an underrated
Yeah.
part I thought of what they had last year was the defense was kind of serviceable, and that was why they were able, in my opinion, to make the playoffs and win a lot of games. Yes, the offense is crazy and it's great, but the defense was pretty good, and it's going to get worse this year. No Fangio, no Wilkins. Those are 2 huge losses on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't know how they make up for those. I don't know how they get better. Uh, those are my early thoughts on it. Do you have any early thoughts on the Dolphins?
I think they're going to rely on their secondary a lot. Their secondary looks really good if you looked at it 5 years ago. Like Kendall Fuller, Jordan Poyer, Javon Holland, and Jalen Ramsey. Like that
That
sounds
sounds awesome. I mean, yeah,
amazing.
2019. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I think I mean, we haven't seen Jalen Ramsey regress really. Like he came back from injury and had a pick six his first game, I believe. Or
Yeah,
he almost had it. I think it was whatever,
it's a
regardless.
thing. Like you haven't said that we've seen him regress, but it's also like that the height of Jalen Ramsey was so high. It's
Yeah.
not he's not at the same height level. He's still a really really good corner, but
Yeah.
he's not like without question best corner in the league because that was what he was at some point.
Right. And yeah, and that's why like I'm very skeptical on the defense because the D line's
Hmm.
not as good. I mean, Calais Campbell's what 35 now probably. Like
Yeah,
he's just six foot
I'm
eight,
shocked he's
35 year
still
old.
hanging on at this point. To be
Yeah,
honest with you,
his knees haven't given out on him yet. Like I don't know, being that big, regardless. But I
just
just,
talking about his size, his pure size.
dude, he's massive, he's massive. But I just, yeah, I feel like in their offense it's good, but I mean, is it gotten better? Not really.
I
Um,
mean, I think it might be slightly better. I think A Chain's going to be healthy. I forget the new running back's name. It's like Jalen something.
right,
I don't remember.
right,
Yeah, Jalen. I was thinking Jalen Wilson, but I'm like, it's definitely not Jalen Wilson.
yeah,
Uh, Rock Chalk, shout out Summer League MVP, Jalen Wilson.
let's
All
go.
right. But I think that their run game, it's not going to get worse. It was one of the best in the league last year. I think that's going to stay high. Tyreek, I think he has one more year where he's at this level. Next year, maybe you can talk to me and say that he's not going to be. I think he's going to stay there. Jalen Waddle will get better, and then this dude, his name's slipping out of me right now.
Odell's on the Dolphins.
I think it's Jonnu Smith they brought in as
Yep,
your tight end, and he's kind of like he's a speed tight end. There's not a lot of speed tight ends. For some reason, I think if Jonnu Smith is a speed tight end, so just to me, he kind of fits what they do. They might actually use their tight end this year.
the
Uh, be,
Dolphins.
so I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Listen, Tyreek, congrats on number one. Congrats on number one. I think he earned it though. I really do think he deserved it. Like, I'm not really a stickler on it, to be honest. I think he deserved to be number one in the league.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm being serious. I'm
I know.
being dead serious.
I assumed you weren't being serious, so
No, no, I
that
think
was
I
my
am.
take.
I feel like he's been good for so long, and to finally have like this sort of credit finally come to him, like
I
the
guess I'll
fact that he
say,
got the recognition and
yeah,
Tua didn't, because let's be honest, I think a lot of people feel this way that Tua's elevated because of Tyreek. It's not vice versa.
yeah. No, I guess. Well, I mean, it's also because Tyreek came from Mahomes to Tua, so it's just like, well, his production with Mahomes is never going to be the same as it was with Tua, and then it actually was. So it's like, oh, then clearly it's Tyreek.
Right.
Um, I guess the thing I'll say about Tua is he's 26. He's still 26. He can still get better. Like it's not like this is the end all be all for Tua. Like I think that kind of gets forgotten about. I think people think Tua's older than he is, but I mean, 26 is a really young quarterback, and he has a lot of
Yeah.
experience at this point. Where I think he's just going to keep
I mean,
getting
look at
better. And I
Michael
think
Penix.
McDaniels helps a lot.
Look at Michael Penix. He's freaking. I'm sorry.
This isn't an NFC
I'm
preview
sorry.
there. We're not
I'm
talking
sorry.
about Michael Penix today.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, but I like it for the line at 9.5. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I have to say under just because I don't think it's logically possible for all of, I mean, it can be for them to all get 10 wins, but
Well, it might be possible because of the last team in the division that we haven't talked about yet, just getting
yeah.
wiped by them all. I'm actually going to go over. I keep changing all my picks pretty much in the moment, but like I was thinking about the offense, like this offense is pretty good, and I think they're going to dominate September and October. Like I could see them having
They
a
will.
bunch of wins early on, kind of trailing off basically what happened last year.
Uh,
But I think the offense is going to thrive for the first couple months of the season, where it's going to be like, oh, who's going to be able to stop this Dolphins running attack? And then it'll just sort of fizzle out in December, like what always happens for the Dolphins.
right, right. I agree. I mean, I agree. I think I'm on the same thought process of the Bills where I think they'll get 9. The opposite of the Bills, like I think they'll barely get under, but I could
Mm-hmm.
easily see them hit over.
Yeah. Once
Um,
again, just a real solid line at DraftKings.
yeah, very.
But going into a line that I think is actually poorly done is the Patriots 4.5. You're telling me that there's someone out there that thinks the Pats are going to get 5 wins? You think the Pats are going to be a 5-win NFL team
Let me see.
in what I
Patriots.
think is a pretty good AFC East? There's just no shot. There's just no chance. Um, we have a bunch of notes written down for all these different teams. My note just says LOL, and Derek's note says trash. So I guess that shows you what we think about the Pats this year. To me, there's just no chance they hit 5. 4 seems like a stretch to me. I think
I
they're a
th
3-1 football team.
I think there's 2 teams that I could see them sneakily winning based off of their schedule, maybe 3. It's Seattle. They might be able to because it's in
It's also new
Foxborough.
coaches. Oh, it's in
Yeah, it.
Foxborough. Yeah,
I feel like it gives them that slight advantage, and then I feel like the Colts in Week 13 at Gillette, so that's gonna be
yeah. Cause they might all be hurt by then.
right.
I guess we'll get into that.
And then the Cardinals, I think.
The Cardinals might be good this year. I'm kind of high on the Cardinals.
I don't know
Uh,
how high I am yet. I feel like Kyler Murray just still gives me a question mark every time.
Once again, that's the NFC. Once we're talking about the Patriots, we're
Yeah,
literally
sorry.
talking about Kyler Murray in the Patriots preview.
I just want to talk
Um,
ball.
I mean,
No, it's
what
all right.
it's Gerard Mayo's new coach. I mean, he doesn't really have any head coach experience at all. I mean, he's completely new, completely fresh to all of this. One of the youngest coaches in the league. I believe it's all of the coordinators are really young. Like it's going to be a learning experience. Like it's impossible for you, I think, for them to be that good that quick. It's not going to happen. I don't think anyone's expecting it to happen. I don't even think they're expecting it to
I
happen.
mean, they
Like
already have a QB controversy, let's be honest.
I think that they're going to try Brissett out there for like 3 weeks, and they're like, all right, we're gonna try Drake. Just
And then they're
to
gonna be
see what
like,
he
oh
is.
man, Joe Milton, he's not bad either.
Sneaky Joe Milton, just be able to throw the ball 105 yards, whatever.
I
Just what
mean,
I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot to talk about. I think it's the worst receivers that there are. It's like they
yeah.
have a couple of rookies that are interesting. I don't think they have anyone really that they can throw the ball to. I don't think the O line's that great. I mean, they traded Judon, so they clearly are picking a direction. It's just what they're tanking for who next year? Because it's not like they need a quarterback, or at least they need a quarterback as of now.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, 2. I got under. I'd even take an alternate. I'd take an alternate line at 3.5.
I would take an alternate at 3.5 as well, and I would still take the under. So if you listen to us, which you should, Pat's under 4.5 feels like a lock. I think
I don't do this.
Lock.
I don't do this often, but for the Patriots, I will.
For the Pat, just bet every under for the Pats. It actually might not be a bad move, except the defense might get torched a little bit. Yeah. So let's pick a division winner. I think we both have the same one. I might have leaked mine in the early part of talking about this division. But who do you have winning the AFC East?
I think it's the Jets, and I mentioned that it may come down to the final 2 weeks because they play the Bills then the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the final 2 weeks of the season will decide if the Jets win it or throw it away, essentially.
Yeah. Basically, like if they hold off either the Dolphins or the Bills. I mean, it's like I said, I don't think anybody would be surprised if any of those three teams won, to be honest with you. I don't think it would be a shock. Like if they could finish in any order. If the Jets came in third, I don't think I'd be shocked.
They're all three. I think with the 7 teams in the playoffs, there's a very good chance that all 3 of them still make it in the playoffs.
Also true. I guess it kind of depends, though, what ultimately happens in the AFC North. Correct. So let's go ahead and transition over to the AFC North. I mean, I think everybody's best division in football. I don't even really think it's close at this point. I mean, there's no bottom to this division. That's the way it's been for a while now. Because the Browns are good.
True. Like
but let's start at the top.
It's still weird to say. Sorry, it's just still weird to say that the Browns are good.
It is weird to say the Browns are good, and it's mostly just because of Jim Schwartz. I think just because he has full range to do whatever he wants with that defense, and he's a good DC. But we're not talking about the Browns. I guess just to go back to it, I did pick the Jets. I don't know if I made that clear for the AFC East.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Back to the AFC North. Let's start at the top with the team that was so close last year. So close to getting what they wanted.
They would have just ran the ball, honestly. They would have just ran the ball.
And they've gotten better. They've gotten better, I think, a little bit this year. They've lost some pieces, brought in some new pieces. At least they're flashier. I'd say the Ravens are a flashier team than they were last year. They are sitting at under 10.5 wins. It's a lot of wins in a really good division. The number one story for me right away is Derrick Henry because that's awesome. That's just an awesome thing. There's no one's mad at that. No one sees that. It's like, oh, that's going to be stupid.
I'm mad.
That makes sense. I'm gonna say that actually kind of makes sense. But you can't say it's not kind of cool. To me, it's probably one of the coolest additions that happened.
The only reason I'm mad about it is because we play them so early in the season.
Yeah, and that's why. It's going to be fresh Derrick Henry legs. I think, though, the biggest deficit was they lost McDonald. I think he was one of the best DCs that there was last year. That defense was awesome, and it's not going to be the same this year. Their D-line isn't quite as good, so they're going to have to blitz way, way more, and it's a new DC that doesn't even really know what he's doing yet, I don't think. So to me, it's interesting. Just the defense will take a step back. I think the offense will be better, especially year 2 of what the Todd Monken experience.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think their defense is going to be as good, but I think their unit's going to be solid in the sense that they're going to do what they do. That's the Ravens are known for having a good defense regardless of names. Like they just.
Regardless of names, guys. And they also have Roquan and Kyle Hamilton, so it's not like they don't have names.
Right, exactly. And it's I think their defense is going to be fine. Their offense, it's kind of worrisome, but it's been worrisome for the past 5 years. They've been.
I think the offense might be the strength of this team this year.
That's what I mean. Worrisome for me. Like I
was like, as a Ravens fan, I'm pretty hyped about
that's what I meant. I'm as not a Ravens fan, I'm worried because their offense is so good. And it's Derrick Henry. It's going to run through Derrick Henry. It's
the passing game's going to improve.
It's going to improve exactly, and it's going to. Mark Andrews is going to be healthy, healthier. I don't know if he'll be 100%.
They might run a ton of 12 personnel. Because
they might as well. They have likely now.
They're pretty much just receivers. They're just receivers anyway. Yeah. They're just huge. So that's even better for Derrick Henry. That might not be better for Derrick Henry.
But that was the best thing to happen to Isaiah Likely is that Mark Andrews got injured because now he was able to show that he's a viable option on this offense and that if push comes to shove, if the first guy's not available, the second guy's not available, the third guy's not available, the fourth guy's not available, I'm here.
That's pretty much what it is. But I'm also really high on Zay Flowers going into this year. I think he kind of turned it on a little bit at the end of last year, and he was kind of starting to figure things out. I think he's going to just keep taking steps. there's no way he didn't spend the entire offseason with Lamar just going over routes constantly. I mean, that's what you get when you get a guy like Zay. I mean, that was what they invested in. That's what they got. I think he's going to be really, really good this year. He's going to be a reason why the passing offense to me is almost going to be on par with the rushing offense. Like, he's a big reason why, because I think he's going to be fantastic.
I agree. And he's really good. And I don't want to talk about the NFC, but it's the same thing with like Devontae Smith. Like, it's so crazy how good they are and how strong they are for how small they are.
I know. Yeah.
Like it's insane. And I think Zay's amazing, and they didn't change much. Like, nothing's changed. Like, their offense is
the offense is same. Like they basically just put Derrick Henry in the offense. Like, all right, now let's go ahead and do this now.
And they were throwing the ball really well. Like Lamar Jackson had like multiple 300+ yard passing yard games. Like,
I forget what Todd Monken said, but he said comparing year 2 to year 1 with the offense. He said for year 1 we're building a house. In year 2, we're just remodeling the bathroom. So it's so much less work and be able to focus on other things. They're not installing all this stuff. So I think you'll see the year 2 jump with Monken, where they, like I said, it's like they're going to run almost, I think, like a spread type offense with tight ends, which is going to be a weird thing to see, I think.
I think that's going to be the thing. They need to find their identity early on, so and then stick to it, and then adjust accordingly, obviously. But I think that was what their ultimate downfall was in the playoffs. Is like they did what they were supposed to do, like straight up, and then again when they played the Chiefs, they stopped running the ball. And
I don't know if they get in Harbaugh's head or something. I don't know what it is. But it seems like whenever the Ravens play I guess it's the Ravens, though, in the playoffs. It's not even the regular season. He's fine in the regular season.
It's like the Bills. It's like the Bills. We lose to the Bills every year in the regular season. But when it comes to the playoffs, it's
just what it is. It's gotta be. It's just sad. It's just kind of sad at some point for those fan bases. It's like what the saying is: Mahomes is a thief of joy, and I mean he's just stealing. He's stealing everyone's happiness. That's what he does.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. The Bills haven't been happy since. Well, they never really been happy. They went.
I don't know what you're going to say. Like what the peak was. I mean, they had some good teams, but they never actually won anything.
Yeah. You're right.
So there you go. So your line's 10.5. I think I'm going to go over. I just feel like this is probably an 11 or 12 win team. They're a really good team. Well, the only other thing I want to talk about was Lamar is lighter. Lamar's the lightest he's been, I think, since he's been a rookie. He's 205 pounds. He was like 225 last year. So he shaved a ton of weight, which I'm shocked about.
Does that help him?
Huh?
Does that help him?
I think it's for mobility and for the passing game more, I think. I think it's to I don't know.
I'm not a physiologist or anything like that. Like I don't know any of that shit. But to me, it seems like if you're a mobile quarterback, you'd want to have that little extra weight on you, especially if he's not he's a great passer, but it's not like I don't know if losing weight's going to help him be more mobile than he already was because
he's already a very mobile guy. I don't know. To me, it was kind of weird to see that report come out that he was the same weight he was in 2019. It was the lightest he's been since 2019. Which to me, it's like a different thing.
I honestly just think it comes down to injuries for this team. Like I feel like this is the team every year that you hear about injuries, and
that was what kind of made last year sting. Was there like really like it wasn't too bad. There obviously was some, but it wasn't as bad as it's been in years past.
Right. Yeah, I'll take the over on him. Just because it's I think it's an easy over.
Yeah.
If Lamar and Harbaugh's there, then it's like they're over.
I'm on the same boat. And then to a team that has the same over-under, I thought this was kind of high. It is Bengals 10.5. Over-under 10.5 wins. Joe's back. So basically, I just have one big thing here. And that is Joe Burrow, to me, has something to prove this year. Because there's a chip on Joe Burrow's shoulder. And we haven't seen that yet. Like, I guess maybe the year they went to the Super Bowl after he got hurt, that was sort of a chip. To me, this is a bigger chip. And it's the last year with T. Higgins. I think he knows that. So I think that Joe's going to absolutely ball out this year. And I think the Bengals are going to be fantastic because of it. It's going to be Joe takes the lead. And because Joe knows what he's doing, everyone else is going to get better. The defense is going to try more. The O-line is going to get better. The receivers are going to be better. They're going to be able to put Chase in the slot because they don't have Tyler Boyd anymore. I think this offense is going to fly. I think this team's going to be fantastic. I have really, really high hopes, really high expectations for this Bengals team.
Dude, so everybody like assumes I just hate Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like I love Joe Burrow. If we lose to him, like I'm okay with it.
Really, that's crazy. That's
it's
crazy. If there's
not
one guy to lose to,
but the thing is, like, I would rather lose to him because he is out of the guys that are in the AFC. I feel like he's the guy that not only deserves it, but actually can do it. Like not only
yeah,
just beat us in a one-off. Like if we were to lose to the Dolphins last year in the playoffs, right?
yeah,
Like that loss would suck more because I know Tua's not going to take them.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's just you guys are better. You guys are a better football team
yeah.
than the Dolphins. Yeah,
And so like and I just like Joe Burrow a lot. Like he's just a classy guy.
yeah. That's what it is.
Like it's hard to hate him even when
It
he's like
is.
your rival. Like
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, I don't like at all, but that's just because like that's because of him. Like he's
I
the
think it's just.
reason why.
I think you just have a thing against a lot of receivers. I feel like there's just a lot of receivers you don't like because you're not a big diva receiver fan necessarily.
I'm not.
Yeah, like
Um,
it's yeah.
but I like T. Higgins, love T. Higgins. He's gonna be I do agree. Like this is a big prove it year for Joe, not for the fan base or for the NFL, but to himself. And
Mm-hmm.
he wants to be able to show that he's the guy. And yeah, he's had some injuries, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I think we'll talk about it in a second, but
Yeah.
I think this is a really good team, and I really
So
like
so as a Chiefs fan, are you more scared of the Ravens or the Bengals this year?
Bengals.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's what I would have thought as well. Because to me, it's like there's something for them to prove this year. It's like that's
Yeah.
something you don't get every year. It's like like even for the Ravens, like they came up short last year, but that's one of the best seasons the Ravens have had in a while.
All right.
The Bengals did not have that last year. That's one of the worst seasons that the Bengals have had
They
with
still
Joe
almost made
Burrow.
the
I know,
playoffs.
I know. I guess it wasn't even with Joe Burrow. It was without Joe Burrow.
It
I
was
guess
Browning,
since
bro.
Burrow got drafted was I
Yeah.
guess my point. Uh, but I'm really high on them. I'm going to go over the 10.5. I mean, I could see them winning this division. I guess you could see a lot of teams winning this division. But I'm very, very high on the Bengals this year.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. I think the over hits, and I think it hits by a couple games.
So you're saying like what, like 12, 13?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really do think so. I think they own the division outside of the Browns. I think that's their toughest team that they always play against, right? And I think Joe Burrow's like he said that and was a part of my take or whatever, regardless.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like his toughest team, and I could see him splitting that. But like I think there's such a prowess to the Bengals that the team. I mean, the AFC North is going to be tough. Those are tough games,
Yeah.
and whoever you
100%.
play.
That's what it is. Just week in, week out with the AFC North because you
But
just get so many good teams.
I think Joe Burrow's tough, a tough some mother effer. I don't know if I can cuss.
You can do whatever you want there. This is the
Motherfucker.
unprofessional media.
I know. But like I think they're gonna show something out this year, and
Yeah.
they're gonna have fun.
So we're both over. I think we're both over on both so far. Both the AFC North teams are
I
over
think
on.
so. I think
All right,
so.
so we'll see if something changes here with the back half of this division. Not even really a back half. So we got the Browns here next at 8.5. You kind of touched on them a little bit. I mean, pretty much the best defense in the league. Kind of hard to take that from them. I mean, I don't really know who you put in front of them. They're just every level. They have playmakers.
Yeah.
It's just so good. The only thing that they got is Deshaun is just the weirdest quarterback there could possibly be. I don't know if he's good or bad or the worst quarterback ever. I don't know what he is.
Yeah, they got Jameis though, so they'll be fine.
You're
They'll be
right.
fine.
You're right.
And if anything were to happen, I hope nothing happens to you, Deshaun. I hope you don't break your leg, you fucking bitch. Sorry, I'm cussing now.
Yeah, I thought you were cussing. Then all of a sudden we
I
bring up
know.
Deshaun
Sorry,
Watson. The whole thing
sorry,
changes.
sorry.
Whole mood switches.
I think this is probably the best line in the league. I think though.
Eight and a
Deacon.
half.
No. I'm sorry. Offensive line, like
Oh yeah.
offensive line, and I think it's been like that for a while. And I think,
Yeah. What PFF has him at number 4.
yeah, PFF can miss some things. No, they're really good about it. But no, I think they're overall really good. But I think to your point, it's going to be on Deshaun Watson to put it together,
That's really what it is. Yeah.
and he did not look great. It felt like Cam Newton towards the end of the Panthers. Like he's like, all right,
Oh,
I don't want to be
yeah.
here, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Like,
That's not a good comp at all. Yeah, that's like it's the thing too. You don't want that out of like pretty much one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league.
right.
Like that's also a problem that they're staring at right in the face.
His confidence, like it just like when he's on the field, like he just feels like he doesn't want to be there. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know.
I think I guess you want to say like, oh, his love for football is gone, but it's like I feel like he just doesn't like ever since all of the things that he pretty much self-inflicted came out. I feel like he thinks people view him differently, which is 100% the case. People do view him differently, and I feel like he just can't be the same guy. He's not the same confidence level. Like the
Right.
Clemson Deshaun was, you couldn't touch him. He was like a legend in his own head, and that's the way that he was a little bit there with the Texans too. And like that's just gone now. That like sort of, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's like overly cockiness is gone. Like he's
Right.
not that same guy.
I just want to say that I hope he doesn't break his leg. I really don't. I really don't. That is messed up to say because that was just a joke. No, but yeah, it's weird. I'm this line I'm kind of in between on.
I think the defense is really good. I think that's why they get close to it, in my opinion. I'm going to go under ultimately. I think the offense just comes up short this year. I don't know how much I believe. Like they have a good O line. I don't know how much I believe in the run game. Nick Chubb is not going to be healthy for a while still. I mean, that's one of the worst injuries ever. Uh,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much I believe in Jerome Ford to be a good running back necessarily. They didn't really add anyone to that room. Um, so I don't know. I'm going to go under. Like I said, the defense is really, really good. Makes you think that they might be able to do it. But if the offense starts to falter, I feel like it's really hard for the defense to stay at a high level. It's like, if you guys aren't doing your job, why aren't we doing? Why should we be doing ours? I feel like that happens sometimes with really bad offenses.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't want to keep agreeing with you. I know we were slightly different in the other division, but
Yeah.
I kind of agree. Like I feel like this one is a very close line, and it's I think it also depends on how well the other teams are in the division. Like
Yeah.
how big of a step are the Steelers actually going to take this year?
Or do they take a step? And I
Or do
think it
they?
also comes
Yeah.
down to if the Bengals and Ravens are going to be so good, these wins have to come against somebody, and it'll
Right.
probably be at the expense of some of the Browns and maybe the Steelers here too, because they have to come from somebody, and they're going to
Right.
play both those teams twice.
So I'll say under for now as well, though, for the
Okay.
Browns. All right. So we talked about the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns. I think the big question mark of the AFC North is the Steelers because there was
Yeah.
so much that happened to them this offseason. Like
100%. Yeah.
it's crazy to think that Russell Wilson is the quarterback, and then
I think Russ
Justin.
might thrive.
I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, not kind of hard not to, but I think I agree. I agree. I think
Yeah.
the offense is set up for him to be very mediocre because no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just messing with Mike Tomlin on that one. No, but I think it's going to be good. The offense, it's hard to say. I don't know how you could say it got worse. I think it's clearly gotten. I think it's clearly gotten better.
I think it's
Um,
better too. Because what it's Pickens is gone. I feel like he didn't even really get a shot, to be honest with you. He never really had a chance.
well,
But
he's still here, but I think he's potentially on a trade. He's
he's on the
potentially getting.
Eagles, I think.
Sorry.
I said Pickens, not Pickett. That's exactly what happened to me.
Is that what
It
happened?
was
Okay,
me. It
I was
was
like,
me.
what are you talking about?
Yeah. Pickett
No,
Pickett never really got a chance.
yes, hometown guy too. Like, it would have been nice to see him really like do really good in that offense and stick
Yeah.
with the Steelers. But hey,
I feel like a lot of it wasn't even his fault. Like he had to deal with Matt Canada, and then like the defense is really good, so then the window gets shorter and the leash gets shorter. So it's that was just didn't really fall right for him. I feel like he'll get a chance somewhere else, kind of like what happened to Sam Darnold at some point. Someone else will take a flyer on Kenny, hopefully at some point.
right?
But I guess that's last year. So moving back into this year, you're saying what the biggest question mark? I agree. Could Russ is a step up on paper. Uh, the receiver room isn't great necessarily outside of Pickens. I don't really know who else they have that's worth mentioning. Um, but I think if they don't trade for Ayuk, Pickens could have an absolutely monster year. But I guess just going into the defense, then I think that not even the best defense in the division. It might not even be the best. It might be worse than the Ravens, which I don't know if that's necessarily true. But I don't know. They're getting older. That's kind of what's getting to me. Is like Minka's getting older, but I can't Cam Hayward. I guess I'm gonna call him Casey Hayward. Cam Hayward in the middle. I guess TJ is probably still at the top, but when has TJ ever played a full season? So I don't know how much stock I'm putting into their defense this year. So if that's your selling point of the Steelers, I guess I'm not buying it.
They got Patrick Queen too, which is kind of
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough defense, but I mean, I think it's going to be gritty. I mean, that's just like we said, AFC North defenses.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a Tomlin defense. It's a Steelers defense. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad defense by any stretch.
Right.
But I mean, I don't think it's going to be a top 5 unit. It might not even be top 10 come the end of the year.
Especially when you compare with the defenses within the division. Yeah, it's not.
I think it's going to be tough. I personally think, like you said, Russ can be better. I think Fields sitting a year might be the best thing for him. And if Russ starts to falter at all, Fields might come in. I think the ceiling's still really high on Justin, to be completely honest with you. I think he has a lot of talent. He just likes to fumble too much. I don't know why he likes to do that so much. Just loves putting the ball on the ground, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's tough. I think they're gonna have. It's hard to say with it because literally, like it's just the Steelers. Like they find a way to be above 500 every year.
Yeah, I guess one of the big positives though I have too is Arthur Smith. I think Arthur Smith's going to come in and be a really good coordinator for them. He knows how to actually run the football, and also in classic fashion, he brought Cordell Patterson with him. So he just loves Cordell Patterson, I guess. So he's a Steeler. I think that's hilarious, just because. That's his guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good guy to have. He's getting old too, though.
He's getting old.
But yeah, I with their line at 8.5, like on paper, I mean, like looking at it, I want to say under, but I feel like the line's 8.5 just because of the Steelers. Like I feel like
it's what it is. Well, it's basically is Tomlin going to go 500?
Yeah.
He's going to go over 500. He's going to get that 9th win because I don't think they sniff 10. I don't think they sniff 10 wins, but they might sniff 9.
Yeah, exactly. So like my gut's saying under, but like it could easily be an over. Just
so make a pick. Make a
under.
pick.
I'm saying under.
Under
first year.
I think I'm under 2. I think I'm under 2. It's actually weirdly enough for me more because of the defense and the offense, which I thought I wouldn't have thought going into a season about the Steelers.
Fair.
But I think they're going to be a very, very good running team. But I'm really high on Jaylen Warren this year. So sneaky Jaylen Warren, good year. We'll see.
Well, Cordell's there with Arthur Smith. So
You're right. That's right. You steal all the carries.
So no, I agree. And then turning this into that, like now that we went through it, like if we want to talk about division winner,
yeah,
I just don't know how it's not the Bengals.
Well, it's not the Bengals basically if the Ravens are fantastic. And because there's holes on the Bengals. Like their defense is not as good as it was. They lost DJ Reader. Like it's not the same thing that it was before. But yeah, I'm not spitting the Bengals. So
I think Joe Burrow's a guy that can overshadow those holes.
To me, that's what it is too. It's not going to really matter. Just let Joe cook this year. It was always let Russ cook. The chef of the AFC North this year will be Joe Burrow. I think that Joe might be in the MVP conversation. And sneaky prop, but I don't know the odds on this. I don't have it pulled up. Joe Burrow to lead the league in touchdown passes. I'm a big fan of that. I think that is going to happen this year.
I agree. I don't disagree with that. I think Joe Burrow could win comeback player of the year. I'm assuming
comeback's a really good one.
I'm assuming he's up for it.
Yeah, he probably is up for that. But yeah, I'm really high on the lead because I think it's Dak and it might have been Josh Allen were the top 2. I'm sure Mahomes is up there in the top 3.
Let me see.
I remember Dak being surprisingly high when I looked at it.
Pass touchdowns.
I'll find it when I'm editing it and I'll just put it in there.
Okay.
And then it'll just show whatever it was. But yeah, so there you go. That's the AFC North. I feel good about our picks. I guess we just both like the Bengals. Like we haven't disagreed like much up to this point. So either we're both geniuses or we have no idea what we're talking about.
I think this next division is going to be where we see our differences.
Okay, all right.
I think you can talk to 10 people about this division, and you can get 10. You really could get 10 different answers.
I do agree with you. I think the only consistent thing is going to be who's at the bottom. But the
Yes.
top, I the thing is though, I guess we'll see. So just moving to the AFC South, we're going to the Texans. 9.5 wins is the line that is set, courtesy of DraftKings. Early thoughts on the Texans and that 9.5.
I mean, I think the Texans are going to pick up where they left off. I think CJ Stroud's the real deal. I think a lot of people think that as well. And I think they didn't do enough in this offseason to concern me in
They
either
just
way.
they just got better. They didn't get worse.
Yeah.
They're one of the
Yeah.
few teams you can say 100% got better. Like their
And,
additions were better than their subtractions. It's like probably the most clear, maybe in the entire NFL. Like
and,
maybe
and
maybe other than the Bears, just because that whole team's different.
right, right. And, I mean, Stingley coming back, he's going to be healthy. I'm pretty sure he had a season-ending injury last year, I
Mhm.
believe. Petrie got injured too last year, I believe, as well at some point.
Yeah.
So
To me, because I think everyone's talking about Stephon Diggs as like the big addition that they had, but to me, number one is Daniel Hunter. Because Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson, I was thinking about it. Can you name a better edge rushing duo than those two guys? I think they're going to feast this year.
I think
Because
it's so funny how people pronounce his name because I pronounce it differently.
who?
I say Daniil Hunter.
Oh, Daniil? I guess I have heard both. I have heard both.
I don't know which way it is, but I've heard that and I'm like, I like that better just because
Daniil does sound cooler. So
my middle
we
name's
can call him Daniil.
my middle name's Daniel, so I
So you're pretty
don't
much Daniil.
no, I don't spell it that way. I spell it differently. I think that's why I say Daniil. I prefer that version of it. But no, I agree. I agree. Daniil Hunter, he's one of those players like well, he got cut. I don't think he got cut, but he left the Vikings. Then they brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
They traded back for him or something happened. I forgot how he got back on there. And he had a monster year last year, like
Yeah.
for his projections. Like he wasn't supposed to be that good.
Yeah.
And coming in, like I think he's gonna be really good. Mario Edwards, dog. Um Will
Dog.
Will Anderson is well, it's Mario Edwards. He's one of those consistently good
Yeah, it's
players
true.
that
Yeah.
you don't ever talk about. You don't ever talk about him.
Yeah, it's like it's like he's just like a guy that you know is because he's not really gonna ever exceed his expectations. He's also not really gonna go below them either. Like he's just gonna kind of stay with what he is. And you
Right.
need guys like that on a really good defense. You need consistency on a defense. And also I think D'Amico is a really, really good coach. I think that was an underrated part of why the Texans had so much success last year. Everyone said, "Oh, CJ was great." D'Amico is I think he's probably one of the he's best coach in this division to me, and it's a division of pretty good coaches.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree because like we'll talk about it later, but if it comes up, if I remember to bring it up. But no, I agree. D'Amico is amazing, and he was a great fit for this team, knowing
Hmm.
that like that's what they needed. They needed someone like D'Amico Ryans to come in
Yeah,
and transform this team, and he did it. And I think yeah,
yeah,
there's no way they take a step back. I mean, their line's at 9.5. It's I think adding Stephon Diggs alone gives you an extra. I think
yeah.
that's an extra game at least. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, they should stay healthy. Dalton Schultz, like
It's
all,
really good. It's they have Joe Mixon too. Like they added so many
yeah.
guys.
So
There's that. I'm gonna go over. I think it's gonna be well over, and I think this is gonna be my take though. It's gonna be, and this is by stipulation. It's CJ is great. The offense is gonna take steps, but it's going to be because of the defense. I think the defense is gonna be one of the top units in the league. I think that's what this team is built on. So if the Texans win a bunch of games, it's gonna be because of that, and then sneaky just a thing on top of it. I think the Texans will compete for that bye. I think they're going to finish at the 2 seed. I think they ultimately won't get it, but they'll be in the conversation at the end of the year.
yeah, I agree. I would take an alternate line at 11.5 to get
I
a
was
few
thinking 12 wins. That was my exact thought. Yeah,
'cause you can get a little extra odds boost on that.
yeah,
And that would be my line for him. So yeah, over on them for sure.
yeah. All right, moving into an interesting team, a team that has a lot of question marks, is the Colts. Over 8.5 wins, over under 8.5 wins. To me, that's a pretty good line, kind of set right there. I think with a lot of teams that we don't really know what they're going to do. Could they be good? Yes. Could they be horrible? Yes. I think Shane Steichen showed he can be a really good coach last year. I think what to me is can Richardson and Taylor stay healthy? Because the O line's great. If the O line stays healthy and they're healthy, this offense could click and be fantastic. But I don't know if that's going to be the case.
I mean, them on top of Zaire Franklin on the other side, or whatever. It's not Zaire Franklin. No, Zaire Franklin. I think he got injured a little bit last year, if I remember correctly. But their middle linebackers for sure had
Oh
struggled.
yeah,
Um, struggle. They struggle to stay healthy. I think that's the name of this team is can they be healthy? Like you said, like
yeah.
it all comes down to that. And if they can be a real competitor for probably a wild card spot. I just don't.
I would say so. They probably be up there with the AFC North teams that we talked about. I mean, I guess the AFC is pretty good too. The AFC is just good. So yeah, if they all stay healthy, I mean, the ceiling is probably a 10-win team. I don't know if it's that much higher. If they have injuries, it falls, and I think it falls pretty quick because they don't have good old Gardner Minshew back.
They have Joe
Just
Flacco.
come
They
in
have
and
Joe
save everything.
Flacco. Their backup's Joe
Uh,
Flacco. I mean,
I guess that's the thing. Joe's good for a few wins, just to start cooking a little bit.
yeah. I'm taking the under on them. I don't think they're. I think this will have a long way to go,
Yeah.
but I think they could get hot, and if they do, they could potentially, fight for a wild card spot. But I think they're at this current state a 6-win team.
That's
Um,
that's that's not a bad thought. I guess I'll go under two, just because over is over 500. That was a mouthful.
right,
Which I don't know if they are a 500 team unless they're just everything breaks their way.
right.
Uh, but speaking of a team that need things to break their way, the Jags at 8.5 wins might be more confusing than the Colts. Might be legitimately more confusing than the Colts.
Uh,
I think it's a higher ceiling than the Colts, but I think it might be a lower floor to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not big on the Jags.
Really,
I'm not.
really.
I'm just not. I don't know what it is. I know Trevor Lawrence had a lot of issues his first few seasons in the
Hmm.
league, and last year with Doug Peterson, it kind of helped out a little bit. The past couple years, I think he's
Yeah.
been there, but I don't know this team for whatever reason just doesn't. I think they're that team that gets overhyped without accomplishing that much.
I think that's what happened last year, 100%. 100%, like, because they had a playoff win last year, and it was like, no, it was 2 years
2 years
ago.
ago.
They
Yeah.
had a playoff win. So then going into last year, they were all the rage. They were like the Texans of last year, were the Jags, where everybody was talking about, everyone was really high on them. To me, not that much has changed. And I don't know why people aren't high on them again. I'm not seeing a lot of people that are loving the Jags. I think they're kind of similar to you. Like, I don't necessarily get it.
I wasn't high on them last year.
Okay. All
I
right.
wasn't high on them last year either. I don't see what warranted them to be a potential 10-win team, 12-win team like that they
Yeah.
were getting that praise for last year. So for me, it's not just going into this year. This is coming off of last year. I know last year they had a lot of injury issues as well, and they had a lot
Yeah.
of stuff
That
happen.
was part of it. Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm just not high on them.
Yeah,
That's
I
just
guess I'm the opposite. I am high on them, and I think it's for the reason that everyone was high last year and just not this year. I feel like they're an under the radar. No one's really thinking about them. It's like Trevor Lawrence can improve quietly, and it's those quiet off seasons where people come back and you're like, oh, everyone kind of forgot about this guy. It's like people have written him off. I mean, he still was one of the best QB prospects ever. He's not
yeah.
old. It's not like he's reached his ceiling. I don't think anyone's remotely thought that. And he had an offseason where he was mostly healthy, where I mean he was kind of able to work through everything. Because he had some bad sprained ankles, but I mean those healed up eventually. And I think he had this whole entire summer to improve. So I have high expectations for him. I think the defense is kind of underrated, pretty nice. They got a good defensive line, at least a bunch of high draft picks on the defensive line that necessarily haven't hit their ceiling yet either. So I think that's what people were buying into last year was like, oh, all of these young guys can come together, and then it didn't work. I think Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence with a quiet offseason together might be able to cook something up that people aren't expecting.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think this would with this line that at 8.5. I think this could be a good put up or shut up between us.
Put up or shut up.
To be
I think it's a
completely
great put
honest,
up or shut up because I'm definitely over. I'm definitely over.
I'm under.
Put up or shut up. I was talking about your dough and your wealth and fame. Use a lane. Get out of here. Put up or shut up.
All right, so this is gonna be our put up or shut up. So I guess we are disagreeing pretty wholeheartedly on this one. So using the Twitter account, I will link it in the description to this video. Link it in whatever else I have. It is front the money. It's going to be held in a third-party service. They put up or shut up Venmo account most likely, and then whoever wins the bet gets the money. That is the way this works. It is peer-to-peer gambling in its purest form with a third-party escrow service. Put up or shut up on Twitter if you want to get involved. So There you go. Put up or shut up.
Go.
All right, going into the last team in this division, I think team that could be good if Will Levis is good, and that is the Titans. But I am I am not high on these Titans at all. I have not a lot of faith in this going well. I think that we have a chance of seeing the future home of Shedeur Sanders or whoever quarterback you want to put at the top of that list next year. I think that Will Levis, not that he's going to crash and burn. I think we're going to learn that Will Levis is not what we think he is, or not an NFL quarterback.
What we thought he was.
Not yet. I was trying to come up with like a nice way to say that, but I'm saying that I think at the end of this year we're going to learn that Will Levis is not an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, and the thing is, they probably had some of the best moves in the offseason. Like
they brought a lot of guys to give him a chance,
yeah.
but it's basically all going to fall on him. And I just don't know. Like he had flashes in like those first couple of games last year, but it really got bad fast. It was like you stopped watching Titans.
It was his first game, and then after that, they were like everybody. I was in some chats and stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh, betting the over on him," and like all of his props. Dude, he fucking shit the bed. Like,
I know, because I think he ended up averaging 200 yards a game throughout the whole season, and he had like almost 400 yards in that first game.
Yeah,
so that means he just fell off bad for the rest of the season. And I don't know how it gets better. Like I said, I mean they have Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley now. They got
Tyler Boyd. They have Tyler Boyd.
And they have Tyler Boyd. Like it's not a bad receiving core. So I guess like I said, it's going to come on to Will. And I think an underrated thing is I just don't know anything about this coaching staff. You know, you always hear so much stuff. I've heard nothing about these guys. So it might just be that I'm uninformed or I just don't know what I'm talking about. But I feel like if these guys had something, I would have heard about it by now. I don't know. They're all new guys. It's all fresh, all new. Might be a good thing. In my opinion, probably not.
That's my biggest concern. It's going to take a while for them to figure out what works for them and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And you, hopefully you don't have a guy that's I don't know who the fucking head coach is there, to be completely honest.
That's the thing. Like he's the only one. Like I was brainstorming it before, and I didn't even bother to look it up because like I know everyone else. I know every other head coach in the league. I don't know who this coach is.
And you better hope he doesn't come in and try and bully ball like the other coaches, and like he needs to listen. And if he doesn't, I think it's going to be a quick demise of the Titans. And I'm taking the under.
I'm taking the under as well. 6.5 seems really high in my opinion. Like I said, I think they're going to be in that bottom three teams. You know, them and the Pats kind of duking it out as some of the worst teams in the AFC. There's one more really bad team in the AFC, and that's in the AFC West. But before we get to that, who do you have winning the AFC South?
Texans.
I'm going to go Jags. So we're going to disagree slightly on it. I think the Jags are going to surprise people. I guess I was saying they're going to be in the top two record-wise, but I think the Jags are going to be up there too. Mostly just because I think they're just going to eat wins kind of on these bottom teams. If the Colts fall apart and the Titans fall apart, I think they'll eat some wins.
That's fair.
All right, so moving on to the AFC West, I'd say this is your expertise. I'd say you're very familiar with the AFC West.
A little bit.
You get to see them a lot throughout the year. I'll let you go and take it away. Chiefs with the highest over-under we had, 11.5. Seems like you can just lock them in 11 wins every year or so. Did they get to 12?
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. I mean, as much as I don't really, if you know me, I'm not big on boasting about the Chiefs because I try to be as humble as I can because I know it's fall apart in any minute.
There's a lot of loud Chiefs fans out there that
they're obnoxious. They're fucking obnoxious. Yeah. And I fucking hate the Chiefs fans that never knew who Travis Kelce was. And now he has a podcast and he's on like and this and that. Like Rob, you know how long have I been on Travis Kelce?
Well, you've been on Travis Kelce forever. I just know like you were the guy that was like there with the Matt Castle days, like buying into Matt Castle. Like that's what I think about you as a Chiefs fan is like it's not like you've been this new wave. It's like you dealt with all of the trash quarterbacks the Chiefs had for a long time because it was like in the same breath as Browns and Bears quarterbacks. It was horrendous for years. And then I guess you guys finally got out. I guess you guys are just what everyone wants to be. Just you're what the Browns, the Bears want to be, have a real quarterback.
And that's the thing, but you know, and I think this team's going to be really good this year. I mean, it's not a crazy statement to make. The defense really kind of stayed together for the most part. We lost Snead, which does kind of suck, but with Trent McDuffie coming in, him showing the way that he could manage himself on his own side of the ball on this past year, I think that's what gave us the confidence to not need to resign Snead. McDuffie's going to come out. I really, really, I hate that we lost Willie Gay. That was probably my favorite player on the defense.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, I loved Willie Gay. He's never had a good. He was always in a shitty situation due to injuries, and
Yeah,
last year was
kind of.
his
Yeah.
first year being healthy. It really showed how good of a player he was, I think. Um, yeah, I think 11 and a half is a fair line. I mean, I would take the over just from recency bias of history.
Yeah.
I still stand by it that I know everybody's Patrick Mahomes this, Patrick Mahomes that. I think Andy Reid is what makes this team this team.
I think there's one more piece to that. But then even more underrated than Andy Reid is Steve Spagnuolo.
So
Because
he's
he's
brought the
probably
defense.
he's probably one of the best DCs that at some point he's entering like one of the best DCs ever conversation. Just because he found his role so well with Andy. Because it's not like Andy touches that defense. Andy has, I would say, almost no say on what happens on the defensive side of the ball. And that's the way that they both want it. And that's why it works.
And it works that way because Andy Reid's
Yeah.
not micromanaging his staff.
Yes. Mhm.
And Andy Reid's letting his players play, letting his coaches coach, and let them be who they are. Like be
Mhm.
yourself. Like that's what he preaches is to be yourself. And it feels good to talk about like football, especially the AFC West right now. But like it's I'm taking it in because this could be a historical year for the NFL.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm pretty excited for it, and I hope everything stays on course, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like my thoughts on the Chiefs are like everyone talks about, oh, is this the year that the receivers catch up to them? Oh, is the defense not really that good? It's like all of these storylines happen the same every single year, and it's never mattered. It's never once
If a
mattered.
down year ends up in a Super Bowl, then I don't know what a good year is. Like
That's kind of what it is. Like it's at some point you just got to stop betting against it, just because if they're
I never
the
bet.
standard.
I never bet them.
They're the standard.
I refuse to bet the Chiefs in any fashion. I will never bet the Chiefs, whether it's
I've also
weekly
stopped
pick.
betting the Bears, but I think for different reasons.
No, I mean that makes sense. That makes sense. But it is what it is, and I think it's an over, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to take the under. I feel like it's stupid to take an under with Mahomes with anything. So I'll just go take the over. It's such a good team. The thing is like, it's changed, but it hasn't changed. If anything, the offense is better in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same story.
I mean, and to be fair, I don't think we're going to get CeeDee Lamb. There's no chance we'll get CeeDee Lamb.
That's too much money.
If the media starts talking about it before the Chiefs actually are interested, then that's when we historically under Andy Reid have never gone out and made those splash signings like that.
Yeah,
it just never happens.
It would definitely, and also I feel like it would put an even bigger target on you guys than you already have. It's not like he would make you. It's not like it's not worth CeeDee Lamb, but that's my thought on it. Yeah. But going from a team that's not really changed much to a team that's changed a ton, and that is the Chargers. There's a lot going on right now in Los Angeles, specifically with the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh, I really like Jim Harbaugh. I don't think anyone dislikes Jim Harbaugh. He's probably one of the most likable coaches that there is. And I also really like Justin Herbert. I think that's, again, across the board. A lot of people like Justin Herbert. My biggest question mark comes when you look at the receivers. This is the top 4 receivers for the Chargers. Josh Palmer, Ladd McConkey, DJ Chark, and Quentin Johnston. Are any of those guys going to catch 40 balls? Probably.
Hey, you forgot one. Brendan Rice, baby. Let's go.
Okay, yeah. Also, Jerry Rice is good.
Jeez.
But could you see any of those guys catching 40 balls?
No, I don't know if I can, and I think they're putting a lot of faith in Justin Herbert. Like that.
I think that's what it is too. Yeah.
They are saying, okay, Justin Herbert's our guy. We're going to let this be a rebuilding year, and we're going to work with what we got. And if it works out, fine. But I think their expectations in that locker room obviously is to win and win a lot of games. But I think if you realistically look at it, I think they're in a rebuilding position.
Yeah.
To set themselves up in the future. And I think they're happy with however this season goes, as long as no key players have any major setbacks.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because I mean, like, if you think about what Jim Harbaugh is going to do, he's not going to build a passing attack first. he's going to build his O-line first. He's going to build his run game first. And I think you saw that a little bit this offseason. That's what they were focusing on.
They got the Ravens as fucking running back.
Oh, that's just. I think it's Greg Roman. It's just that's what it is. He just brought all of his guys. Like he just brought every single guy that he had in Baltimore with him. But I think that's what their plan was. And basically, Jim's like, who has the best run game that I could think of that is available to me? Went and got his guy. I think that's what it is. And that's how Jim's going to build this out. Like you said, it's not going to be a 1 year thing. It's Herbert's the guy, obviously there, but Harbaugh's not going to change the way he builds a team because of any one play. Right. That's not the way he is. And I think that's the right way to build this up.
Yeah. And I'm curious on the defensive side of the ball. Derwin James is an insane player, but like if he needs to stay healthy like that, like just to be completely honest, like he struggled to stay healthy, and if he stays healthy, like it's proven that when he's on the field, the defense is significantly better.
Yeah. I can see if he has a good year and the Chargers aren't really doing that great, I could see him or Khalil Mack not being on the team anymore. Like if they're kind of hovering below 500 and the trade deadline comes around and they're both healthy and they're playing well, they might get sent off somewhere else just because it doesn't make sense with the direction this team's going now. Right. Like to me, they kind of stand out on this roster. Like they don't fit with everybody else almost.
The only thing I could think of is if Khalil Mack takes a significant pay cut, but I don't think I think everybody knows he's too good of a player, even if he's not as good as he once was, to take a pay cut like that.
Yeah, not necessarily. It's the one that I could see is going to the Bills, and the Von Miller contract goes back, so they just swap two massive contracts. That would be like, you'd have to be some kind of match of something that someone's not getting paid right. Would be my thought about it. But yeah, I guess sort of rebuilding year. I'm going to go under on the 8.5.
I agree. I think this one, out of the teams in this division, this one is my question mark because the line at 8.5 seems a little high, and I feel like they could overachieve to that 9 wins, but that would be
an overachieving for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not like you would expect that. I wouldn't expect an over 500 team the first year. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to say under as well, but we'll see.
Yeah. So coming from a team that might be rebuilding to a team that I think is actually better than people think it is, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders. And I am heavily in on this, mostly just because of the defensive line. I mean, it's going to be so much fun this year. So what are your thoughts on the Raiders? Are you scared of that defensive line at all? Are you scared of the Raiders at all? Because I mean, like, if there's a team in the division that I would be like maybe, it would be the Raiders.
My thought is I've in the past 10 years, the AFC West has thrived on defensive line, and all teams. So to go against a team that consistently has a good defensive line is not as foreign as it is to some other positions. 10 years ago you had Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, and then
that was Khalil too.
Yeah, and Khalil was on the Raiders. We had I can't, and see now I'm fucking blanking.
It was the Bosa's were there and they were dominating. It was Bosa. There was another one that was on that team too that was really good,
but
I don't remember.
But yeah, it's always just been such a good defensive line division in recent years, and it's kind of Tom Bahali. That's one of the names, but there's a few other good ones. Then Chris Jones comes in and he helps. Aaron Donald rewrote the position, but Chris Jones has helped establish that defensive lineman's not there just to fill gaps. They can rush the ball as well. There's a lot. So the D line does scare me, but is it something that we haven't seen? I mean, we've seen it time and time again, and it's nothing.
I think it's going to be relentless though. That's what Max Crosby does. Like he's relentless.
Yeah.
And I mean, like to me, Max Crosby's the kind of guy that like on his mirror in his bathroom is a picture of Patrick Mahomes, and he just stares at him every day. Because that's the kind of guy Max Crosby is. Like he wants to kill everybody. Yeah,
and he's so passionate when he plays. He's like he knows he had a second chance, and he's taking all and he's doing what he can.
I mean, I remember hearing stuff about his conditioning, like the crazy level he's on with his conditioning. It's like it's almost the best in the NFL at some point. Like the stuff that he does.
He's insane. And I don't know why this name blanked on me. I have the fucking jersey, Justin Houston for the Chiefs. Like that was my favorite defensive player in the past, 10 years, because really like Justin Houston, and he's been a baller.
That was a really good D-line, actually. Like that was when the Chiefs were a defensive team. Like those were years that were forgotten about.
Marcus Peters, Derek
those were some cool teams. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, that was back when I actually liked the Chiefs. That was back when everyone liked the Chiefs because it was
Eric Berry, dude. It
was a fun team. There was another safety too. They had two awesome safeties. It was Eric Berry and there was another one.
It was oh my god, I know it's 39. His numbers unless we're thinking of a different safety, but his number's 39 or 38. Yeah, so I mean, overall the past 10 years the defensive lines I feel like have been amazing for the AFC West, but for this team specifically for the Raiders, adding Christian Wilkinson or Wilkins, not Wilkinson. That's a pretty good interior lineman to
like it's Chris Jones-esque. It's like adding that to Max Crosby, and that's a really, really tough two to stop, and they have depth beyond that. I also just really like Antonio Pierce. I think that he's a guy that people will get behind. I think he's worth a couple of wins. So they're at 6.5. I would go over just based off of that. We didn't even talk about their offense, didn't even talk about those quarterbacks. I feel like it doesn't matter. I feel like it's the thing that some defenses don't play well if there's a bad offense. This Raiders defense, I don't think cares.
Yeah, and they'll be around. I mean, are they going to be like a top tier team right now? Probably not. But yeah, they're lined 6.5, which I think is kind of. I don't think I believe it's low.
I think it's low too.
I could see them winning eight wins.
So if the Chargers and the Raiders were both 7.5, would that change your opinions? Because that's to me those are almost better than what we got now.
If they were both 7.5, I would take the Chargers under and the Raiders over.
Still, you would still do that. Wow. So you think it's that wrong?
I do. I mean that's just me. That's how I am looking at these teams. I think the Chargers, once again, I think they're putting a lot of faith in Herbert to do God's work with
to basically be Josh Allen with even less help and less Josh Allen skills.
Yeah, and so that's my thought on it. And I think like you said, the Raiders offense doesn't have to be great because their defense will pick up a lot of that slack.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go over as well with the Raiders. I'm quite a big fan of that. So again, we agree. We really haven't disagreed on much. I guess we're butting heads on the Jags. That's literally been it so far.
Yeah, I mean, and then what we have disagreed on, it's not.
They're going to be on the same page for this one too.
Yeah.
So for this last one here, we got the Broncos 5.5. I just have some advice. I didn't have a take for the Broncos. I just got some advice. Just bottom out. There's no reason to try to hold this thing together. There's no reason to try to win a bunch of games this year. Just bottom out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, trade Surtain. I think it makes sense if he goes somewhere else. You could get a haul for Pat Surtain at this point, and you could kind of rebuild a little bit with this. Bo Nix, I'm telling you right now, is not the answer. You've got to like Sean Payton put his whatever like
stamp of approval.
Yeah, I guess that's a fine word. It's just not going to work. I think Sean Payton might just quit after this year because he doesn't want to do it anymore. I think this is going to be a dumpster fire come like week 11. It's not going to go well. There's no way this goes well. So yeah, just bottom out and trade Surtain. That's my advice.
It worked so long in New Orleans because you had Drew Brees and you could
said it. You just said why it worked for so long.
But on top of that is that people wouldn't. Sean Payton could be an asshole because no one's going to say anything otherwise because they're still winning with Drew Brees. Now that they're losing and he's still an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like now you're just being an asshole. Like you're not even like a winning asshole.
Like I think it might come out that like everyone hates Russ. Like everyone in Denver hates Russ. I think it might come out that it wasn't just Russ was the reason this was so bad. I think someone's going to come back onto Peyton. I think someone's just going to come back down to the way the roster's being constructed. I mean, like it was an awesome roster when Russ got there. Then what happened? Where did the defense go? Where did the receivers go? Where did the offensive line go? It was like Russ went there for a reason because they were quarterback away. And then all of a sudden they have nothing. There's just nothing there anymore. I don't know what happened. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I think Russ was a diva there, but yeah, I agree. I agree that it wasn't Sean Payton's pick. Russell Wilson wasn't who Sean Payton wanted,
Yeah,
and so I think he just instantly hated him.
that's probably true.
You might have to look back too and see if Russell Wilson had any big games against New Orleans, as a Seahawk.
I don't know.
Maybe there's
Potentially,
just some bad blood that Sean Payton doesn't want to give
like a
up.
beast quake or something like that happened one year.
Yeah, something like that, But like I don't know because like he's just an asshole for no reason. Like he's bullying, he's playing bully ball with his own team and he's not
Yeah.
like
It's like to me at this point in the NFL, the only guy that could ever get away with that is Belichick. He doesn't even have a job, so that means that nobody can get away with it because it's just not the way the guys are coached anymore. It's a different kind of thing.
I think Vrabel
I
potentially.
think Vrabel's different though because Vrabel playing bully ball is funny.
That's the thing.
Sean Payton isn't funny.
It's not that Vrabel wants to do it or is like meaning to do it to be a bully, but that's just everybody knows that's him.
Yeah,
and
that's what it is.
That his intentions aren't to be that. But like me, I don't intend to be coming off as an asshole at times, but there's times where I come off as an asshole just because of the nature of myself.
Just whether you are, it's just like you just want things to be done a certain way. I think that a lot of NFL coaches like that. They want things to be done a certain way, and like Vrabel can get away with it because of his personality. I don't know if Sean Payton, like you said, he doesn't have it. It's not the same anymore.
Chewing his fucking gum on the sidelines, like it's just one of those faces you want to punch.
But ever since there was that movie about Sean Payton, it's just not been the same.
Yeah.
Once you have a movie made about you, you should
He's a fucking diva now. He's a diva.
Pretty much a diva. I don't know. So I like if you were a Broncos fan and you waited all the way until the end to hear what we said about your team just for us to crap on them, you should have expected that. So.
Fuck you, Ethan. Let's just say that one. We're gonna get that one out the way. And their line's 5.5. Like they're gonna be under, I would say.
I think 3.5 is where it should be.
Yeah,
I think they're a 3 to 4 win team.
Yeah. Not a great team.
That's what we got. So who do you have winning the AFC West? I'm seeing you going to branch out here, take a risk there.
Obviously I think it's gonna be the Chiefs.
I don't think that surprises anybody. Like, how many years in a row is it now if they win this year?
I think it would be 7. No.
I think it might be like 9.
Maybe 9. I'm not sure. AFC West. By year. Let's see.
I thought it might have been 8 last year. It's a lot. Whatever regardless what it is, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it will be 9.
It would be 9 if they win this year. That is impressive. I'm not gonna lie, that's impressive. That's quite the streak. Good for you guys. I see no reason why that changes this year. You guys should get 9. You guys should get 10. I mean, I see nothing changing. The only thing you got to worry about is Harbaugh eventually putting a team together.
Yeah, and that's not going to come this year. It may not even come. It might come next year, but
next year they'll be better. But this year, like we're kind of on the same page. I think with almost everything. With almost everything in the AFC, we feel good about it. Other than the Jags, and that there's a lot of confusing teams. There's a lot of confusing teams in the middle, I guess, as it should be. That's what makes for a fun NFL season. I think that's what we're going to get this year. I'm very excited about it. Everyone always likes to pick winners. I think we both agreed maybe to do something different here. So we're not going to pick an AFC winner, but give a dark horse who you could see winning the AFC where you wouldn't be shocked at it. You're like, this is like a sneaky, not Chiefs, not Ravens pick.
I don't want to say the Bengals because I don't think that's a dark horse.
It's not. It's like dark horse adjacent is the Bengals. Like not quite. Like someone who, if like everything went right and they won, you'd be like, all right, I guess it kind of makes sense.
I mean, the Texans is the first team that jumps out to me. If we're looking at dark horses, because I wouldn't say they're a contender yet because we don't really know how it's going to play out. We only have seen 1 year, and we'll see how it happens.
Yeah, I could see 2. I guess I'll just say I'll take mine as the Jets. I could say if everything goes right for the Jets, that would be interesting.
Would that be a dark horse though? Like
is the Dolphins a dark horse?
Like more? If we take the word dark horse out, because I think the big reason why we're trying to do this is because I don't want to say the Chiefs because I don't know. Like if we take the word dark horse out of this, like I think
non-Chiefs or Ravens AFC champion.
Yeah, I think if both of those teams were not to be in it, I would say I would say the Bengals or the Jets, like that.
I'd put them, and then I guess your fifth would be the Texans.
The Texans would be that would be a team that they need to get lucky in seeding in the playoffs, because coming from Houston, and then if you have to go to Buffalo, to Kansas City, to New York, in January, I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah, and I guess you have to see how that all plays out. It would be interesting to see. I also kind of like the Jags. Like I already talked about that. I think the Jags are a playoff team. I don't know if they're going to be even a division winner necessarily. I think I picked them to be, but to me that's kind of a dark horse one. I don't know if that's their ceiling necessarily. I think a playoff win would be a really, really good step for the Jags. I think that's kind of like what they're looking for as opposed to other things. So there you go. That was our AFC preview. Derek, do you have anything else for the AFC?
Not really. It's a tough conference. I think.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a very competitive, and I think what happens. There's good. I mean, I feel like it's going to be as similar to last year, where there's teams that you think are out, like the Bills, and then they make a run. It's just going to be super competitive. I think you're going to have to win. You're going to have to win 10 games to feel like you even have a chance at the playoffs.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I would agree with that. And it seems like all of these teams are sitting like the 8.5, 9.5 over-unders. So like that's what Vegas thinks like too. Is like basically they're going to have to go over to get in the playoffs, and they're going to have to get those 10-win numbers.
Yeah.
I think that's the case. I think it's going to be a very fun AFC. It's like all the divisions have parity, and that doesn't always happen. Like really, I guess not the AFC West as much, but the other three have a lot of parity in my opinion. That doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, and I'm excited for the North. I mean, I think the North's going to be the best division in the AFC, but I think the fun, the most quirky, the most what could happen is the East. I think the East is going to be
fun. So is the South though. The South's going to be fun too.
When's the South not fun? It's always who knows. Like how many? When's the last time a team's won it back-to-back years? Isn't it been like forever?
I feel like the Texans a little bit there when JJ was dominating. Probably won a couple times in a row.
Maybe
that would be my guess. But I think I'm going to leave it with that. We went a little bit over on the hour. I think I'm not quite sure what the total time is. You'll find out at the end. But yeah, so thank you for tuning in to the UnPro Show AFC preview. We're going to be having an AFC preview next week. We're going to have Theo on. NFC expert.
Let's go. I'm excited for that one.
He told me that he's already been doing research for like 2 weeks. So
he hasn't stopped doing research. That dude. He's so big into the draft and all that. And like,
I'm so excited to talk about football with him for like an hour or two. Get through all the NFC stuff. I want to just hear his Cowboys takes because I'm passionate about the Cowboys this year. I think they're going to fall apart. So I want to hear his reasons for them not. Or maybe he thinks they won't.
He's very, and you know this, but he's very, he's not blinded by fandom when it comes to
100% not blinded by fandom, but I think he might be slightly by the top end talent.
Oh yeah.
So I think that might
just bring up CeeDee Lamb to the Chiefs though. Let's just see if that gets him going.
Yeah, and then after that we'll start doing regular shows for every week. I keep trying to come up with a way it's going to work. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm trying to come up with like a standard for each week. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I'd love to have you back on, Derek. Do some weeks that make sense. But with that, thanks for watching. Best roast gets $5 as always. And I'll see you on the Put Up or Shut Up Twitter.
Let's go, baby.